guys, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Sorry, I'm actually a few minutes late. Technology has failed me on so many levels this morning. I'm just having one of those days. But we are here now. Hello, good morning. So today I'm going to be covering all of your questions, any problems, concerns, tips and tricks with turning loops. And I made this lovely necklace so that we can practice with them. So I've got some beautiful crystals that I'm going to be using. I'm using 6mm round faceted crystals and some head pins. So the only other tools that you are going to need if you want to turn your loops with me are my round nose pliers and my cutters. You might want to use some chain or flat nosed as well, just to open up some of those connections. But it's a nice simple one. So it's just a really nice practice piece showing you and perfecting turning loops, but you'll get a great piece of jewellery at the end of it as well. So it's a nice practice, makes perfect piece today. Oh, let me get your comments up, can't see them. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Helen. Hi, Mina, Edward, Judith, Jan, Overcast Western Supermare. I love your weather updates, Jan. Quite sunny here today in Lincolnshire. It's nice. Good morning, Marcia. Hi, Robin. Hi, Lucy. Camille says good morning. Hope you're all well. Hi, Dee, Angela, Anne, Paula, Francis. Cool, we've got lots and lots of you already so far. Helen says good morning. Joining for the first time in a while. Hi, Helen. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've got a nice day off then in that case. Hi, Sheila, Sue. Good morning, Sarah, and everyone from a dull and rainy North Devon. We kind of cover the weather across the entire country, don't we? And sometimes abroad as well. I love it. Good morning, Jean. So, turning loops. It's really, really important. It's actually one of, apart from tying a knot in stretch elastic, it's actually the first technique that I ever learnt. I'm getting a bit older now, so I always used to say, oh, I've been doing jewellery for like 15 years. I think it's probably more like 18 or 19 years now. It's one of the first techniques that I ever learnt, and I still use them in pretty much all of my jewellery making to the day. Whether it be you've made a lovely bracelet, maybe you've been using your weaving, stretch elastic, whatever it might be. A nice pair of earrings are always a nice add-on if you're gifting, or of course to make something a full set if you're selling as well. Adding a little charm onto the end. So loops are really important, and there's two different things that we do with them. You can either do your wrapped loops, and we've done quite a few tutorials on that. What day was I doing wrapped loops? Maybe Saturday. And I also showed them in the plaiting. Today we're just going to focus on an ordinary loop, just turning loops on head and eye pins. So I'm going to show you very quickly the website, because I've been on the phone to Simon and Kitty already this morning. Oh, don't forget to sign up to the newsletter. I'm hoping you can see everything on our website. Let me just have a little look. Okay, sign up to the newsletter. You will get notifications of all of these lives, any TV shows we've got coming up. You can see that there's lots and lots of things on here. These gem chip trees are amazing. Go to categories, down to Facebook Lives, or Facebook tutorials I should say. Any of the ones you've missed before, this will take you through to our Facebook page, but any of the ones you've previously missed are all in here. Pin necklace is for today, and we've got some beautiful crystals. So Kitty and Simon have put together a bundle for us. You'll get 6 strands of 6mm rounds, which is what I'm going to use in my necklace today. They're normally £15, they're down to £9.99. We don't have a lot of stock of that. I mean, we've probably got about 25, that's it. And they are some of our newer colours from our newer stock. And then the ones that I'm using today, so I'm going to use the blue iris. The picture that I put up last night and the sample that I'm going to show you that's finished is the green iris. We've put those in just in case you wanted them. And then we've got lots of head pins, lots of clasps. You can pick your finish, whatever your preferred colour and tone of your jewellery findings are. So that are all of your bundles. Camille says the yellow and orange looks yummy. Yeah, doesn't it? So perfect for autumn. Jane says, good morning from Lincolnshire. I'm there too. Hello. Angela says, I hope it goes away from you. What's that? Maybe she's replying to somebody else. Okay, so turning loops. Let's have a little look. Oh, Pamela says, good morning from Washington State. being smoke out here. What does that mean? Being smoke out here. Oh, and fire's getting closer. I know exactly what you're talking about now. And Angela says, I hope it moves away from you. Pamela, stay safe. Sorry, it's always really hard to keep track of the feed sometimes. Pamela, hope you are safe. We're all sending love. Lucy says, I'm watching today with eyes closed. Got to stop buying everything I see. We're just magpies, aren't we? Hi, good morning, Natalie. Okay, so turning loops. I'm going to turn you down onto the mat so that we can have a nice little look. Okay, so just by practicing our loops, I'm going to show you a few nice top tips today to be able to make this lovely necklace. The only thing with these is that you want to make sure that they don't twist. So when they are not twisted, and once you put them on, I've heard quite a few people say like they don't sit right, they can be a little bit funny, but just so long as when you've got it on your neck, just untwist it all, and then hopefully your skin and it being flush against your skin will stop it from twisting. It's really, really simple to create, and of course it's going to help you perfect your loops. I like to finish this one with just an eye pin at the end. Well, actually, it's a head pin with a massive loop on it, and an eye pin on the other side with my clasp. You could use magnetic clasps. You could put any clasps on there you like. But as you can see, we're going to turn hundreds of loops. You're going to be good by the end of it. Okay, so a few different things that we use. Head and eye pins. I'm going to use head pins today, but I will also show you how to make your own eye pin, which we will use to attach our clasp at the end of the necklace. I'm not going to make the whole thing. It's probably about, God, how long did it take me? It's probably a couple of hours actually. I would say maybe an hour and a half to 2. Allow yourself a bit longer to do, if you're new, to do the whole thing in its entirety. You can rush, you could probably get it done in an hour. There are a lot of loops, but it's one of those things that you kind of don't want to rush, you just want to take your time with. And enjoy the process. So this is my blue iris that I'm going to use. This is the green iris that we had on the website. And then I'm just going to take a few of these off. So these are my 6mm faceted rounds. With a necklace like this, it's all about the beads. It's quite a raw and open technique. So everything is visible, which means that you want those perfectly finished loops and you want a really nice bead to showcase. Sorry, I'm croaky today. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee every now and again. Okay, flat-nosed, round nose and your cutters. You need some really nice round nose pliers. You can't make beautiful, delicate, round loops with dodgy, scratched, old, greasy from the garage round pliers. You need some beautiful, precise round pliers. I do obviously like the ones from my kits. There are many different round nose pliers that I use over the years. You just want to make sure that they don't have any marks on them, that they don't have the sort of edges, like a rough edge on them. That would obviously like scrape away from some of your loops. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, just turning an ordinary pin. So I'm not going to leave, you can see that I created this zigzag by leaving a longer gap in between all of my loops. So this isn't turning a loop directly on top of the bead. However, that's really important in your jewellery making. So we're going to tackle that one first. Now, when you start your loop, you want to make sure that you are bending your pin to 90 degrees directly above your bead. Now my hands are super sore today. We've had some really intricate makes over the last few days. I've been doing wrapped loops, I've been doing chainmail, I've been doing wire work, so my hands are very sore. If you don't have the strength in your hands, use your pliers, okay? Don't let that put you off making your jewellery. So you want to turn, you can see that that's how I've turned it with my hand, okay? And I am using a reasonably thick pin as well. So if you can't do it with your hand, turn it with your pliers. You will find that it's easy to bend over the top of your pliers. So very, very tip of your plier on top of the bead. And already that has given me more strength because I'm not trying to hold the bead. I'm not trying to bend it. Just by using my pliers at the very, very top. Jack said, Sarah, thought you had grey streaks put in your hair and then realised it was the lighting. Yeah, I do have a lot of greys actually coming through. I've actually got, my mum used to call it, I'm digressing here, but my mum used to call it my Malin streak. Do you remember the Catherine Cookson characters? And sort of midway through my head, I've got an enormous strip of grey hair. I've had it since I was in my early teens, and still got it now. So now that I don't dye my hair at all, it's very natural. Okay, so you can see already I've my pliers have made it easier for me. So we've got, that was just with my hands. This was holding the plier right at the very top. And the reason I've done that is because I'm using crystals. When you're using beads that don't have faceted edges, or they're not crystals, maybe glass, maybe ceramics even, you can normally use your pliers up at the very top and bend it. The reason I don't do that with crystals is because now where my tool is coming into contact with my bead, I'm going to start chipping away at the very top. Bicones especially, but with things like these, your beads are a little bit more delicate, so you don't want to do that. So use the very, very tips of the tiniest part of your plier as that little stopper and bending that over. Bending it to 90 degrees because we're about to roll the pin back on top of the bead. So you want to make sure that if I come back, am I more brunette again? White hair under the light. You want to make sure that you have a 90-degree angle on them, because this is going to give us some really nice finishes. Oh, Jack says she's gone completely grey now. I love that everyone is embracing natural hair colour. I absolutely love it. Camille says, think my hair's all white now under the colour. I think my mum's would be as well. Lockdown was a nightmare for her. Sorry, mum. Okay, so we're then going to leave a centimetre. Now, you can either measure it. I wonder if I've got my ruler here. You can either measure it exactly. Yes. You can either measure it exactly. You can make yourself a little marker, but you want a centimetre. Standard size loop is a centimetre. So to begin with, measure it. Give yourself exactly a centimetre, and then we're going to cut this off. Now what you can also do is then use this piece that you've cut off as a marker for the other ones. So now I could just keep that, oh, wrong ones. Now I could keep that on the side and constantly mark it. You can just keep on going. Or of course, what you can also do is take a pin, give yourself a centimetre, bend it over. So you've got a couple of little markers. What Kitty also likes to do is to put a 10mm bead onto the end of the pin, then cut it and then bend it. Now I don't have a 10mm to hand. I'll show you with one of these. So you would add on, this is a 6, so obviously I won't cut it, but you'd add on a 6, then you would add on a 10, then you would cut it, which is going to leave you of course an exact centimetre, and then you can bend it over. Okay, so that's how you're all going to get the right sizes. Now, with an eye pin, and annoyingly, I don't have one here. With an eye pin, they all come with like a standard size loop. So I just quickly turned this one. An eye pin already has the pin on top. A head pin has the flush finish. So the loops that we're going to turn, by adding a loop onto a head pin, that's given us a charm. So that's giving you your full stop. That will be charms, that'll be the end of your necklaces. It could be a little stopper on the end of an extension chain. The head pin is your full stop. The eye pin will make all of your beads connectable. So making chains, adding them on together, linking them together. So your eye pin will already be fabricated on the pin. In that case, take your round nose pliers and pop your eye pin onto your pliers, and then mark with a little pen. You could use like a Sharpie pen or a biro, even pencil. Put a little line on the depth of your pliers, because you can see they're thinner at the top, bigger towards the bottom. So by popping that on, that's going to give you the right depth and the right circumference in depth of your pliers to be able to make the same sized loop. Uniformity in your loops gives you the best finish. It's not important because it's still practical without them, but it does give you that lovely finish. So, turning loops. Let's go. This is going to give me directly on top of my bead. So this isn't to create the necklace. This is just a quick little troubleshooting for your loops. So I like to hold the pin at the bottom. Thumb goes onto the full stop, and then your then you're sorry. I'm getting distracted reading all the comments because now everyone's saying about the hair. Everyone's saying they need to cover up all these greys. Embrace it. Embrace it. I like it. Sheila says, hi Sheila, I really have difficulty with anything other than seed beads. Brilliant tip, Kitty and Sarah. Going to try that as I can never get the loops the same size. Perfect. I'm hoping by the end of today you will. So then I like to use my thumb onto the end as the stopper. My index finger will hold the bead and I like the pin facing up to the ceiling. Now everything I'm going to show you here is going to be my preferred way of turning a loop. You can turn things towards you, away from you, upside down if you want to. If you end up with a loop, that is good enough for me. Any technique and position you use is fine. Have a little play, find your comfort. So I'm going to hold my hand flat, and then when I've grabbed hold of my pliers, I'm then going to turn my wrist. So I'm rotating my wrist, okay, like this. If you think of like a handlebar, that's the movement you're going to do. So little movements of your handlebars, okay? Thumb to the end, pin up to the ceiling, down to that depth of the plier that we've marked, so we know we're going to get the right size loop. Flat hand, okay? And then I'm going to do about 90 degrees of, well, actually no, it's about 180. Let go and turn back, keeping that same depth on my plier. Smaller the movement, the more control you have over your pin. You can see tiny, tiny, tiny little rotations. Camille, I actually had to bite my tongue to stop myself from going vroom vroom. So thank you for for adding it in for me. Hilarious. So there you can see we have a perfect circle. You can't freeform a circle. It's going to be impossible. So many times when I'm teaching, I see people hold the end and they kind of bring it round and start looping it round, and their arms are twisted, their shoulders are all the way back. Oh, I had a good crick in my neck then. You know, it looks like the most uncomfortable thing, and then you end up with like this, just this mess. So small, tiny little movements make it comfortable. Let's do another one. So cut and leave your centimetre down to the point on your plier. Now, what's also important is that your wire is flush to the top. Oh, Patricia says, I shared today to a friend who would like to start beading. She said she's been watching and she's going to join the Facebook page so she can see all your lovely work. Oh, thank you, Patricia, and welcome to your friend. I'm hoping that some of our tips today will help her. I'm hoping it will help newbies, but it will also help people who have been beading for quite a while. Hopefully there's a few tips for everyone. Okay, so turning that loop was easy, but we want to make sure that we're rounding all of it. So can you see I have no wire poking out of the top? If you end up with shepherd's crooks, it's because you have wire poking out the top like this, and I'll do one in a moment just to show you. Nice and flush. Now you don't need death grip, okay, because you should be able to hold that deep enough in your pliers. There is enough space for that wire to be held. And then again, small, tiny, little movements. I'm not even turning my entire wrist with this. Tiny, tiny movements. That's going to give you a great loop. Okay? Tiny, tiny, tiny. Just keep on edging it. Because if you go wrong, you don't have much to undo. If you can feel it going wrong, if you can feel it going wonky, the tiniest movements are going to give you that control. So let's do a shepherd's crook. So if I have wire poking out at the top, then when I make my loop, you will see I get this kind of shepherd's crook. So many of my bought jewellery, swearing, I know, yes, I buy jewellery. So many of my like costume jewellery pieces have loops like these, kind of mass produced in the stores because they're quick. It's just a really quick loop to make, but it doesn't give you that lovely finish. Let me show you the difference between the two. So no wire poking out at the top, you get a perfect round. Leaving some exposed, you get that shepherd's crook. Okay. Anything else that anyone is struggling with? I'll do one actually turning towards me. So that you can just see the slightly different positions and holds. So if you want to turn it towards you, I actually start with my hand not flat, but upside down. because turning towards you, you want that rotation. If you start here and turn it towards you, already you can see my shoulders moving back, I've got pain in my neck. You don't want any of that. So start with an upside down hand, and sometimes turning it towards you is easier to begin with because you can actually see it. So can you see I'm now, I know that I'm going to have some gap left on this. Can you see already my loop isn't going to be perfectly above my bead? So I'm just going to nudge slightly further down my plier. And I know that this is happening because I can see it. So as it's getting closer, I'm just going to nudge it in ever so slightly, and you'll still have your nice round loop. Popping that in. So making sure that they're nice closed connections as well. You want to make sure that they are touching. Camille says that's the way I do it. Oops. Is that bringing it towards you and then you start with a flat hand and then you're all like twisted and I bet you're sore by the end of the day. Take care of yourselves. Make it easy. Get comfortable, because with things like this, if you're going to be turning lots and lots and lots of loops, if you're only doing one or two or a pair of earrings, it's really not an issue. When we get into projects like this, you want to make sure that you're not doing yourself any damage because of it. Oh, Camilla. Oh, so we've got a Camille and a Camilla. Started beading 20 years ago, but can always learn new things. Love the way that you explain in detail, Sarah. Oh, thank you so much. Danielle says, good morning all. I always get loops wrong, so your advice is helpful. Thank you. You are welcome. I'm seeing some nice new names today as well. I know that not all of you are comfortable interacting or commenting or anything else, but give us a little wave if you've been watching for a little while and you haven't yet said hello. Don't be shy. We're all friends here. Okay, so let's get into the actual necklace. Once you perfect turning your loops, there are so many different ways that you can use them to create some beautiful results. So the necklace, for example, what you want to be making sure is the uniformity not only in your loops, they are slightly hidden, so it's not the end of the world if they're not perfect, but what you do need to make sure is that you have the same gap in between all of your beads and your pins. You'll see that my loops are not directly on top of my bead. I have a gap, and that can be quite hard to get right, but I'm going to show you an easy trick. Mina says, I get loops right and then goes wrong. Yeah, sometimes they have off days. Sometimes you might just have a little bit of a funky twist in the wrist. Okay, so my pins are particularly long, so all of these bits that we are cutting off, I'm keeping, okay, because we can make our own pins out of them, no wastage. We can use these to make eye pins, and I'll show you afterwards. Oh, Marion says, I like your nail polish. It makes a change from your usual. It's actually a lot darker than my normal, isn't it? I left my nail polish at Kitty's the last time I was there, and so I have two that are very similar, always nude. And I left one at Kitty's last time before last, and I forgot to pick it up this time as well. Hi, Victoria. And my other one, you know when they go all gloopy? So it's a little bit, so last night I was making samples. I've got a few TV shows this week, so I was making samples until about 11:30 last night. And then remembered I'd chipped all my nails and needed to repaint them. So I just grabbed one from the little nail polish bag. So I'm glad you like it. It's not too bad. I'm getting used to it. Okay. Creating the exact gap in between all of our pins. Hair now nails. I know, Jax. Oh dear. No wonder I get self-conscious. But you're all so lovely. You're all so complimentary. I don't mind at all. So we're having a little beauty sesh today as well, aren't we? Bead straight onto the pin. And then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to take it down, not the furthest, because that gave me a little bit too much gap. I'm probably about 0.5 centimetre away from the end, like so, okay? And now I am going to bend my pin over the top of my plier. Can you see that's left me just a small gap, bigger than obviously usual. We normally bend them directly above the bead, but this is giving me a nice little gap. And now you can take, again, your pen, mark your pliers, just use Sharpies because you can clean them off. You can clean them off afterwards just with a wipe, with a cloth. Take your pen and mark that depth on your plier. That will give you, no, Angela, we definitely don't. That will give you the exact measurement every time, okay? So that's how we get this uniformity, giving us that exact depth. Then we're going to do just our normal loops. We're going to take a centimetre. Now, normal technique, and this is why my nails were so chipped after yesterday, taking it to our normal depth, but because you've got the bead on the end and a gap, you actually need to hold in just where the bottom of the bend is on your pin, okay? So, holding this, and then you can see I'm keeping that straight bit because I'm holding the bead and the pin in my finger. Nice little loops. And what I found by the end of the day was that my nail was all chipped in the centre just because I was holding it. So can you see now I've got that lovely loop on top and I've got that gap in between. Now, if it comes slightly over to the side, one thing we didn't cover were P's, not loops. We want a loop up on top. If you end up with a P, so let's turn one on here. If you end up with a P, so it's off to the side of your pin, just pop your pliers in the middle and nudge it back. So little rotation round, that's gonna straighten up and neaten up the pin up on top. So with some of these, if you find that it's slightly off center, and I'm talking about a minute amount here, but a bit of a perfectionist, I'm just gonna pop my pliers, holding that edge, and then ever so slightly nudging that pin back. And that will then give me a perfect loop on the end, okay? Then we just do that over and over and over again. several times. Now, little extra step. We're going to add on our bead onto the pin, and then we're going to loop it onto the previous one. And then we're going to do the same thing again. Now, remember, you do have the pin in here as well. So that depth, your first one might be ever so slightly different, but go to that depth of your plier that you've marked, twist it over the top, cut a centimetre, hold the pin down at the base of the bend, and loop. Slightly neaten it up if you need to. Now, because you're holding the ends, I did find yesterday that some of these, let me do it now so that you can see, some of these were a slight angle like this. And when you finish this necklace, you want it all sitting beautifully uniform. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, hold that entire pin and bend it straight like so, okay? And then what you will start to achieve are the little zigzag loops. Now, you could make all of these loops, you could do them all as individual pieces, and you could loop them on afterwards, like so. So if I open up this loop, just like we open up a jump ring. So taking this loop, my flat nose pliers, you'll see that I'm not pulling that circle apart. You don't spend so long making a perfect circle to then ruin it and pull it apart. You do it with your flat nose pliers. So you're going to take the end, lift it up, and then you will interlock them into each other like so. So then you want to make sure that you're holding the bead. So hold the bead with like your kind of leftover fingers. And this is where I come undone on it. This is why I just do it all and construct it at the beginning as I'm going rather than afterwards, because now you just want to make sure that you're getting that perfect closure. So two different ways. You can either do it as you go or make them all and add them on afterwards. I find it easier, and just my preferred method is to do it as I go. It cuts down the time. Otherwise, you're then making all of your loops. Now, obviously, sample making for me, for making things like this, I need to be quick. You know, I don't have a nice relaxing day to sit down and make something. I need it done, and I need it done now. So for me, I tend to take shortcuts. I will always do things that will be quicker. if you're just having a lovely time and you're just making a nice necklace, you know, for the sake of making it, maybe it's to wear for an occasion, whatever, take your time with it, enjoy the process. You don't need to rush it. So there we go. Mina says, will 18mm head pins work with this so you don't need to cut the pins? Absolutely. These are just the ones that I had in my stash, and I wanted to show you that you can then use all of your leftovers to make eye pins. If you have shorter beads, shorter pins in your stash, or of course you can find them on the website, then you probably won't even need to cut them at all. It then also depends on the size of bead that you're using. So if you're using longer pins, then you can use any size bead. Susan says, could you not bend all the wires first to the right length and then add on the looped pin? Yeah, so I think that's what I've just shown you. So yes, absolutely you can. Okay, so I'm just going to do a few more, and then I will show you the finishings and the ends. So you can see, plus, when you're making it and you're constructing it at the same time, it's really satisfying. It's really nice just to see it grow. And as you can see, that uniformity in the right sized pins is going to give you a really lovely finish. It's a very nice one to watch grow. So looping down to the same point, cutting down, and turning your loops. Lorna says, I love the way you say use leftover fingers. I sometimes feel like I've got too many and they get in the way of not enough. I know, I never know. I never know quite how to say it. Your leftover fingers does sound completely ridiculous. But yeah, I always say that when I'm tying knots as well. So I always use my index finger and my thumb to push a knot down. And I always say, use your leftover fingers to hold the threads. Just straightening up that pin there. Yeah, I'm afraid I do have a few things that that I say that don't really make sense. You guys know what I mean. Oh dear. Our fingers always do get in the way, don't they? I was sending Kitty a project for macrame this week for some of our beaded macrame, and sent her over the pictures that I'd taken. She says, I want to know how you managed to take the picture when both of your hands in the image are holding the cord. So I said, oh, well, I prayed so much for an extra pair of hands that I've obviously got them. It was funny. You've just got to make all your hands work as hard as they can. There we go. Look, can you see now? So just flipping them over. So you're doing it in alternate positions. Yeah, so sometimes we are all fingers and thumbs. Other times, let me move that out of the way of my head. Other times you put them all to use. So you can see you're getting that lovely zigzag. Really, really lovely. Gives a different option to stringing all the time, which is quite effective and pretty. Exactly. It's a very raw open technique, so it really is all about the beads, but it is a lovely way of showcasing some very special beads. This looks stunning with freshwater pearls, because of course you have that slight difference in the shape of them as well, so it's really specifically showcases every single bead because you can see the entire bead. So any semi-precious, freshwater pearls, something like this, obviously crystals, you're not covering up any of those facets. So absolutely everything is going to be exposed. Every cut on that crystal is going to be sparkling. Question, are the 50mm bundle of head pins the same as the ones on your Facebook page? Yes, I think so. I'm not sure which ones you mean. If you message or email Kitty or Simon, they're in the warehouse, I'm sure they'll be able to help you. Victoria, thing I've noticed is that there is a great difference in the size of round nose pliers. What are the ones that you recommend, please? Absolutely, I completely agree. I've actually got some, I wonder if I've got mine in here. Yeah, I've got quite a few here actually. Obviously, over the years, you know, 17, 18 years of beading, I do have lots of different ones. These ones are teeny tiny, so you'll see that the depth of my plier here is not going to give me the same size and depth here. These ones are super, super delicate. However, when I use ones like this, and these are particularly long, look at how long they are from handle to top. When I'm using ones like these, I actually find that because they're so slim, they actually bend a bit when I'm using them. So some have extremely long noses. Sometimes when you're twisting with them, it's almost like the bars cross over, they begin to twist. Which is quite frustrating. Smaller ones like these, again, very small tips, 3 and 2 pliers. So this actually has like your cutters, your flat and a round all in one. Really handy for some techniques because you don't have to keep on chopping and changing your pliers. But again, very, very fine noses. So you're not going to get kind of the depth or the length in your plier in the technique that I was just showing you. It's whatever works for you. It's whatever you find comfortable and easy to use. I know that's not helpful when you're buying them online because, of course, you can't try them. With my ones, I always go for something that has a reasonably wide grip. What you will also notice when you're turning loops and with your chainmail, don't sit your pliers in here. So many times I see people using their pliers like this, and that is putting all of the stress right on your muscle inside here, and over time it will really start to hurt. Okay, it gives you quite a good grip. It does give you that handlebar grip, but what I would urge you to do is to take your plier and run it along your thumb. Okay, so that you are not in on that muscle and putting pressure, because actually when I squeeze that, I can feel the muscle and almost I can feel the pressure like shooting up my arm. Take your plier and run it along the length of your thumb. And that way it's still going to give you a good grip. I can still hold everything, but I'm not in the muscle. So just running it along the outside of your thumb. And you can use your thumb. So you see, I'll always hold my plier like this. And it's going to give you more control. Sit it in there. That case, you don't need to worry about the handle of the plier. You know, it doesn't matter if it's thin, bigger, smaller, larger, it doesn't matter. You can actually just sit them really nice and comfortably, and my thumb will run all the way up my plier. Like so. That way, it's going to give you less stress on your hands. Now, obviously, I make a lot. But so do you guys. Sometimes you can be at home and you'll be beading all day. You don't, again, want to make sure that you're doing yourself any damage. Make it nice and comfortable. And I'll do it with all of them. It just becomes habit. My thumb runs all the way up and my thumb comes all the way up to here. If you're holding them like this, you're putting all that pressure inside. So my thumb actually always sits up on top of my plier. See? Right in. And then that way it's going to put some of the less stress on you. In terms of the actual nose of the pliers, so long as they are round, they're going to do the job. It really doesn't matter. There are some of your cheaper tools that have almost like a serrated finish to them. They've got like etched lines on them. And you will find that they're kind of your pliers that are like, you know, $2-3.99, you little cheapy ones. So they have like scratches on them. That's not going to be great for things like your chainmail or turning loops, because of course it's going to start taking off any of their coating and colouring, and then it's going to start to wear them away and they'll tarnish easier. So obviously any chips or dents that you put in them are going to make it harder. Sue says, that's a really good tip, Sarah. How to hold the pliers. I just tried it and it's more comfortable and feels more controlled. Excellent. If that's all you take away from today, then I'm happy. I think you'll find that it will give you a lot less stress on your hands. And like you say, you're just going to get that little bit more control. So, yes, in terms of your pliers, so don't have them like etched or a harder surface area. Try to find something that is quite fine up at the top for things like when we were bending over on the top of the bead, nice and thin, but a reasonable depth as well, because Sometimes you do need larger loops. Sometimes you will have beads like ceramic beads that have big old holes in the middle of them. A smaller loop and a loop that you would get on an eye pin just slides straight through. Some of the glass beads as well, especially things like lampwork beads, they normally have larger holes in them too. So for things like that, oh, Jean saying same here, just had a go at mine. Amazing. Susan's going to say she's going to try that too. Excellent. Send us a little message in the Totally Handmade Facebook group later on. If you find that you've been working with your pliers and you find that easier, let me know. I love giving you the tips and tricks, but then I'd love to know if it works for you. What else was I saying? Lost my train of thought. Larger loops. So if you've got beads with bigger holes in them, you're going to need those larger loops. And I'm just about to show you how to finish this as well, which you will need bigger loops for. So at the very end, obviously you can see we've got that bullet end, that sharp stop from our head pin. Up at the top here is going to be the other side. So you're going to go all the way around your necklace. On one end, we need to finish with an eye. So on this very end, I'm going to attach on, or in fact, let's just do it on this one. I'm going to take my pin, I'm going to go through, and this is where I'm going to make my larger loop. So this will be where my, talking about the pliers, Rachel's saying, and my tools are etched, maybe time to invest in some new ones. I can't remember who asked about the round nose pliers, sorry, but you asked which ones I recommend. I am biased because I've got my own set and I use them all the time. They are on the website. I'll show you them in a minute on the Totally Beads website. I do have my plier set and they are the tools that I use. So it's your round nose, your flat nose and your cutters. The ruler I was using a minute ago comes in there. It's got obviously all your measurements, but it's also got a bead sizer in the middle as well. I'm rubbish. I'm really rubbish with sizes. Kitty and Simon always go, oh, what size bead are you using? I'm like, I don't know. This one, it's round. You can take your beads and you can pop them on and it will give you the exact size. So you know you're using a 6mm round. It's really handy. You'll know if they're not the right size because they go all the way through. So that's really, I find that really handy. And I wanted to make sure that you just had something extra in there. Bead scoop, your scissors go in here, but I've been using them, and your needle tube. You'll get 3 Easy Eye needles in there, but obviously you can then store all of your others in there as well, and it comes in the case. I'll find it on the website for you in a minute. I haven't had any problem with the pliers. I tried quite a few before we finalised on these ones. I just found that they were really handy to hold. They were great in terms of quality. I haven't had any problems with them. The cutters are also amazing. They haven't dented at all. I've just put them away. They haven't dented at all. And I have been naughty and I tested them on memory wire. Don't do that. I just tested it for you so that you don't have to ruin yours. So they are super strong. I did even use them on memory wire. Don't do that though, use your memory wire shears. But I wanted to test the quality of them. So I know just cutting your head pins, just cutting a gauged wire, you're going to be good. I've been using these for ages. I have blunted the ends a little bit, but they are really lovely. Maria says, hi from Cyprus. Don't miss any of your videos. If I do, I watch them later. Thank you for all your amazing tutorials. Thank you, Maria. Lovely to hear from you. And I hope you have amazing weather. I hope you are enjoying. Okay, so to make a larger loop, we need more than 1 centimetre. Gosh, I have been talking to you for a very long time. We need more than 1 centimetre. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, longer, so that we can use... I mean, this is probably too long, but let's go for it. This is going to be our attachment for our clasp. So it's going to be the other side. Turning this, so I've come right down my plier, right away from the top. So it's going to give me a much bigger loop. I'm just going to nudge that out ever so slightly. That is going to be where my clasp will attach into. So that's a larger loop. It's going to be easier for your clasp. You could do it with a normal sized eye pin, but by the time you're kind of, clambering around behind your head, it's easier to have a bigger one. So that is that side. And then on the other side, we'll attach our clasp. So you are going to finish on a loop, as you can see here. So I'm not adding a bead on, I'm only doing it on the edge. So I'm actually going to use one of my leftovers. We'll make a new eye pin. Geraldine says, I have your set. Great set, Sarah. My husband needed to cut it in a hurry and cut some cable. He was impressed. Oh, thank you. My husband uses them all the time as well. We were fitting some new lights in the kitchen, and you know, so he was like stripping the cables and doing all those things that you do when you need to put a light up. And he's like, oh, go and get me your pliers. So he uses them for that as well, which is good. We use them all. Oh, lovely. Some of you are putting in. Let me show you where to find the pliers on the website. So you can either just go up to the top. Oh, hang on, wrong page. You can go up to the top. You can either go into tools, or you can just type in Sarah Mills Sup, and up will come the pliers. So this is them here. Oh, and they're on offer. I didn't know that. They were $29.99 down to $26.99. You've got everything in there, which is really lovely. Oh, and you get some nice reward points. Make sure you sign up for all of those. They are there. I hope you find them useful. I've had some really nice feedback on them. Thank you so much. For the very end, we're going to make a loop. So loop on one side, so we'll make just our normal sized eye pin on one side. When you're just turning your eye pin, so this is making a loop out of the extras, I use my thumb and I hold, because I've got all of that wire. I don't want it to bend. I want it to keep on. Seaman, they're down to $26.99. They were $29.99, so they are on offer. Taking these, using my thumb, all of that wire is down my thumb, so I'm kind of pushing it in. When you feel the two ends meet, you are done. That's that naughty little P. So we're going to take our pliers in, hold that, bend that pin backwards. That's going to give us a lovely eye. That will go onto the end. Take my flat nose pliers, lift that up. This will go onto our very last bead, like so. And then onto the end here, I will attach my clasp. So I'm going to create another little loop, same size as before, or you could even make it longer. If you want more of a clasp to hold on to, if your fingers aren't too great and you're kind of all fingers and thumbs behind your neck putting things on, you could even add on a magnetic clasp onto these. That would be totally fine as well. You could leave a longer gap just so that it will sit nicely at the back of your neck and you've got something to hold on to. Leave your centimetre. See, so that is all the wastage that I've now got from my bigger pin, cutting it down and now making an eye pin out of it as well. So I always have bags and bags. I keep the bags that all like your materials come in, and then when I'm finished I will keep all of these extra little bits and put them in, and then that way if ever I know I need an eye pin or something else, I can just use them afterwards, so no wastage. Up at the top here, making a nice small loop, nice and petite and delicate, and you will add your clasp onto that one. So if I now make it all sit properly. Now you can use these for little chains. You could use them as, you know, little handbag charms even, because they hang really nicely and you're going to get all those beads moving, all that sparkle. Like I said, you've got the really raw exposed bead. So it really is a way, oh my goodness, no wonder I've got a headache coming. You've got that really lovely finish and really nice showcase for your bead. And then lose the bag if you're like me, completely, Diane. I've probably got hundreds of them in the cupboard. Ridiculous. Jax is asking if I can put the necklace on. Now, I actually made this to fit a display bust, so I'm not sure if it's going to fit me, but we can try. Just make sure when you're putting these on, run your fingers through them and just make sure that you don't have any twists. If you have any twists, it's not going to sit nice and neatly on your skin. Pull it tight. Oh, it does. Pull it tight, and then you'll make sure that you don't get any of those twists. So I can't see it because I'm just in my camera. I don't think I've got any twists in there. Oh, It does fit me. And then you get that lovely sparkle. So they will sit really nicely. Obviously, use your mirror. I think I can feel a little twist here. Use your mirror. Once you've put it on, have a little look. Once you have it sitting flush to your skin, it won't move, especially if you go for a smaller, almost like choker length with this. With like a higher sort of top, I think that's going to look really nice. Even like a nice little round neck. I think that's going to look really lovely. Okay, guys, all your loops. Oh yeah. Oh, look at the sparkle. So it really is a nice way of showcasing some of those beads. Like I said, some really lovely beads. Goes well with your outfit. I mean, I do just have leggings on. It is maybe a little bit glam for just my Wednesday look. But it is going to be... Right, let me get rid of this twist now that I can actually see. There we go, I think we're there. Lovely. And because, like I said, not one of those facets are covered. When you string things, obviously you're covering the beads top and bottom. So with something like this, you're just going to get the most amazing sparkle. The slightest movement, they are all going to move. So it's just a really lovely way of having an exposed bead. And then, of course, you can add on any of your clasps that you are comfortable using. You could add on magnetic clasps. You could add on anything you like. I've shown you, hopefully, all of the techniques and tips for your loops. Okay, so I think we're done, guys. I have, sorry, I didn't mean for it to be this long, but I guess with loops, there's so much that you need to cover. Do let us know if there is anything else that you struggle with. If you need any more tips and advice, send us a message. Kitty and I are always very active online, and we will answer any of your questions. Now, I'm done for the week. You've had me for several days. I've got quite a few TV shows, and poor Kitty is picking up the slack for next week because I'm actually taking a week off. So you will have Kitty now giving you some amazing tips and designs over the next few days. Someone's asking how long this is to sit on my neck at that position. Give me 1 second, I shall measure it for you. 15, 30, 40. This is 45 centimetres. I'm not sure what that is in inches. 45 centimetres. 50, 2, 4, 6, 8, 62, 4, 6, 8, 72, 4, 6, 8, 83. 83 pins in there. So you really will get good at turning your loops. That is going to give you a really lovely finish. Lucy, I have Forever Flowers on tomorrow. Forever Flowers tomorrow morning, and then I've got a home decor hour at 6:45 on Friday night. And then I'm off for a week, guys. I will miss you all dearly. I can't promise I'll be here every day because my week off obviously is now quite full. But I will, 18 inches, Diane, thank you. I was going to say it must be about 16 from where it was sat. So yeah, about 18, so it'll be about down here. 16 is normally a choker. 18, your 20s, your 21s, etc, etc. So guys, thank you so much for a really enjoyable week. I've absolutely loved all of the tutorials this week. We've had some great interaction, some great feedback. Hopefully you have found it super useful. I will see you in just over a week. Join Kitty tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you all soon. Take care and lots of love to you all. Thanks everyone.